Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. So, Chai with my Bhai is back, and Alhamdulillah, this time season 3 is going to be available on the podcast app, both on Android and Apple devices. So, if you're on either of those, then click the link below, inshallah. Subscribe to the podcast. I promise you're not going to want to miss it. And now it's accessible for you wherever you are. If you're on the train, you can listen to it with your headphones in, or you've got AirPods, Beats, whatever headphones you have, inshallah. You can listen to it wherever you are, whenever you are, inshallah. And if you're watching on YouTube, as always, just remember you can watch the video. And all the previous episodes from the last 2 seasons are available on YouTube. If you go to the playlist on Nasiha Session, the YouTube channel, if you go to the playlist, it's called Chai with my Bhai. You can find all the previous episodes there. And inshallah, from now on, all the future episodes on the podcast app. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to yet another episode of Chai with my Bhai. Today we have the usual panel of Saad and Imran, and then the additional brother
T-Rex,
Tino, Taha, Tehe, whatever his name is, inshallah. Today's topic is, first of all, guys, you want to give salam, inshallah, to the people then?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
So the first thing that we want to mention is we were thinking of doing like little compilation videos of different episodes from Chai with my Bhai, so like different benefits from Chai with my Bhai, different funny moments from Chai with my Bhai. Let us know what your thoughts are on that and whether or not you think that's something we should do. Maybe like small snippets from different parts of different videos, just so you know, to encourage people to watch the full videos and also so you can benefit without having to go through the whole video if you've already watched it before. Today's topic, inshallah, we're going to be talking about the prayer. Now, the prayer, meaning the Salah. Obviously, there's a lot you can talk about from many different angles, but today we're going to be looking at specifically things that, number one, will nullify your Salah, and number two, reasons why people don't pray the Salah. The reason why this is very important, obviously, given that we live in the West and this society and so on and so forth, you find a lot of Muslims, they just don't pray. And now it's not even a thing where people try and hide it anymore. People are just, bro, I just don't pray. It's just not me, innit? People coming out saying the right letters to God instead of that's their version of praying. People just basically just a bit mashed up, innit? We're waiting for the day of judgment, apparently. But so let's get straight into it first and foremost, inshallah. So why are reasons why someone who is praying, their salah might not be accepted? So I'll start off with one, and that is people who, and I know this because in Pakistani culture this is very, very, very rampant, and that is the issue of, as we call it, qaza, meaning not the haircut, meaning to pray all your salawat at the end of the day, or to pray dhuhr in asr time, or asr and dhuhr in maghrib time, and just say, I was busy during the day, so I'll just make up my prayers. So is there anything, first and foremost, Saad, is there anything wrong with that? Like, do you have to pray at a certain time, or can you just pray all of your salawat at the end of the day for no particular reason other than you were busy?
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah ma ba'd. So first and foremost, in regards to the 5 daily prayers that are obligatory upon every single Muslim to pray, then to answer your question, that every salah has a particular time in which you have to pray. So if a person doesn't praise outside of these times intentionally, then that's not allowed. Okay. Every salah has a specific time and it has to be prayed at that time. And we know that from the Quran and the Sunnah. For example, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the Sahabi, he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Ayyu amali ahabbu ila Allah azza wa jal?" Which of the actions are most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the first thing he mentioned was as-salatu ala waqtiha, the prayer at its correct time, its designated time. So can a person just get up and say, today I want to pray dhuhr in the evening? No, you can't do that.
But doesn't that just show that it's most beloved to Allah to pray it on time, but doesn't show that you're not allowed to pray outside of that time, right?
No, of course not.
So what's an evidence to say that you have to pray within the specified time? Which are?
كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.
What does that mean?
The salah has been prescribed and written for the believers at a fixed and appointed time. And in Surah Al-Ma'un, which is a surah that we memorize as children, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَوَيْلُ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, destruction, woe, curse, woe to those who pray. Why woe to those who pray? I thought those who pray are good.
Yeah.
Allah describes them. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ, the ones who they are negligent with their prayer, they're lazy with their prayer. How are they negligent and lazy with their prayer? By delaying it past its appointed time. Not just that, the Prophet ﷺ told us that, for example, Asr prayer, Asr can be prayed obviously after Dhuhr. I don't want to get technical and talk about the shadow lengths here and that because the people might not understand.
Yeah.
But there's a time when Asr starts and there's a time when Asr ends. Asr ends when Maghrib starts. Does that make sense? So Asr time, even though you can pray it and it will be accepted between the time it starts and the time it ends, the Prophet ﷺ told us that anyone who prays the Asr at the end part of the day, when the sky is starting to become reddish yellowish, then that prayer is haram at that time. So understand, it's not rejected.
You still have to pray.
You still have to pray.
You're
It will
just
still be
sitting.
said that he prayed Asr, but it's haram. And the Prophet said, Tilka salatul munafiq. This is the prayer of the hypocrite. The one who waits to the very end of the salah. He waits to just before the salah is about to expire. And then he just quickly, what the Prophet said, he pecks the ground like a bird or like a chicken. I forgot the exact word the Prophet used.
Yeah.
And he says, and he doesn't remember Allah Azza wa Jal, except very little. He just waits to the end and boom, he just finishes the salah. Does that make sense? And that's the same with the issue of praying at midnight. If you pray after midnight, your salah is still accepted, but it's haram, you're sinning.
Which salah is that? Isha?
Isha. Because technically Isha can be prayed all the way throughout the night. But it's haram to now pray it after midnight. Does that make sense? So I'm saying if it's haram and you're actually sinning and you're praying within the time where it's still accepted,
Yeah.
then what about the one who prayed and the time passed completely? That person abandoned the prayer. That person will come under tariq salah.
But I thought, obviously, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He wants ease for us.
Yeah.
He wants to make things easy, and the Prophet said that, He would always choose the easy option. So for someone who's working 9 to 5, or they're at college all day, and it's a bit awkward for them to pray, and isn't that an understandable reason or excuse to then delay the salah and then come home and pray it? If they're genuinely so busy at work, they don't really get break, and they're really, really just caught up with work or studies, or they're going out, and they know that they're going to be out all day. Is just easier, innit? And Allah says in the Quran that He wants ease for us, right?
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Sharia defined what ease is and it defined what mashaqqa, hardship is. Does that make sense? So the Sharia did facilitate ease.
Okay.
For example, a person who's traveling,
Yeah.
can now shorten and combine their prayers. Does that make sense?
Combined meaning.
As in they can combine Dhuhr and Asr and they combine Maghrib and Isha. So the religion did make ease. Does that make sense? When a person is sick, for example, or a person is not able to come with certain elements within the prayer, then, for example, if you can't stand, you sit. If you can't sit, you lie down. If you can't lie down, you can do it with your fingers. If you can't even do it with your fingers, you do it with your eyes. You know what I'm saying? So the religion did facilitate ease. For example, if a person is in a battlefield, there's something called Salatul Khawf, where people, they don't pray the complete prayer as it was prescribed and legislated. Does that make sense? For everyone else, but rather they pray in a particular way to facilitate ease. So the religion is facilitating ease, but these guys don't want ease. What they want is, they want the Sharia to follow around them. They want the Sharia to chase them. Your life has to revolve around the Sharia, and within that, the Sharia understands and empathizes and will give you ease. But what these people is, they don't want the Sharia to give ease. Ease is, I'm in control of you, and then I lessen it every now and again, but I'm in control. What they want is, they want to be in control of the Sharia. They want to dictate when and when they can do what they can't do. Does that make sense? Did Allah not give ease for fasting? For example, when you're traveling, you don't have to fast in Ramadan, and when you're sick, you don't have to fast. Did He not say that?
Yeah.
But then, can I not come and say, it's about ease, right? Well, in the summertime, I find it hard. So, يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد
So you can't decide yourself.
You can't decide
what
yourself.
ease is.
Allah who knows you. ألا يعلم من خلق. Allah said, I know you, I created you, I know you so well. And based on that, Allah said, I know what's easy for you and I know what's hard for you. Does that make sense?
So
Just add on,
sorry.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to cut out for a long time. is that the essence of the 5 daily prayers is actually ease from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because originally we weren't actually prescribed to pray 5 prayers a day. It was more, right?
Oh, wow.
How many were there?
50.
50, yeah.
50 salawat. And then the Prophet ﷺ, when Musa alayhi salam said, go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah to decrease it and make it easier for your nation, because they won't be able to do it. So praying 5 daily prayers throughout 24 hours in a day is actually ease. It's actually ease from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You just make your own editing harder. Just make your own editing harder.
Why? What about?
Yeah, that was very
What about what I said though? Is
No, but it's like now we have to explain that, innit?
no, not really. Those who know, innit?
It's shubha, man. It's a
Just
shubha.
cut it out.
Alright,
It's
calm.
funny.
You know what would be even better? Just mute. You know this whole area. Don't even cut it out. Just mute it, because people they burn. What did he say? Like they want to know. Like what did they say?
Why do you want to burn the people?
We don't burn people. Like burning is only for
Let the
Allah.
people burn.
No, we're talking about metaphorically.
But yeah, so the point being is that the salah is easy. And on top of that, then you have even more rukhsa, even more ease that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you throughout these
No,
occasions.
just
don't
that
you think-
Allah actually said something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he actually said something about salah. He said, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. Allah said, seek Allah's help in patience and prayer. Verily, the prayer is something big. Is not something that's just like, it's big, it's tough. Pray, like you got to go in. But it's only big and hard and tough for who? Those who are not khashi'in. Those who don't have khushu'. Those who don't have humility and sweetness in their salah. Does that make sense? So a person who, when he's praying his salah, he's connecting with Allah, he understands, I'm talking to my Lord. Wallahi, it's ecstasy for him. There's no greater feeling. So how can he find it hard? Does that make sense? Like for example,
That sounded kind of Sufi. I'm not gonna lie.
say that again?
That sounded kind of Sufi.
No, not at all.
Ecstasy.
Yes, ecstasy. Ecstasy. You know the drug.
You know the
It
hadith
means
of the
the
Prophet
feeling of
ﷺ, right?
ecstasy.
Huh?
The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ,
Yeah.
where he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the coolness of my eyes in the salah. The Prophet was
Yeah, coolness of my eyes, like relaxation, tranquility. But ecstasy is like it's a bit.
No, ecstasy.
Ecstasy is a type of
you-
high.
One second. You know the drug
Yeah,
became called ecstasy
because of the feeling.
because the term predates the drug.
Yeah, I know.
Ecstasy means a good feeling.
Oh,
It can
okay,
be-
the term
okay,
predates
yeah.
the drug.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The drug has some
yeah.
chemical name.
thing
The
is,
point is
ecstasy
that
is like a pleasurable feeling,
Good.
Yeah, just made a good feeling.
but in a way where it's almost a high. Does that make sense? So he's talking about
As in,
tranquility.
you're
and
doing
high
like a
is two different-
spiritual
Slightly,
high
I
kind of
see
thing.
what you mean by
Maybe-
tranquility
maybe
is
he's got
like
good-
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Like
but
tranquility
I
is
think people
sakina,
understand
but-
Maybe he's
what
got a
you're
lot of
trying to say.
tajweed.
Huh? Sorry.
Maybe he's got good tajweed.
Like, because when you say
No,
ecstasy, I'm
yeah.
just imagining someone just like Sufi
He's
swing
No,
or.
almost
I'm
lost
saying-
in the sauce.
I'm saying, yeah, you're just no, you are lost. Shall I tell you why? Because what was the story of
You're tranquil.
you're
You're peaceful.
focused.
Hisham ibn Urwa?
The-
No.
Scorpion.
Urwa ibn Zubayr. Urwa ibn Zubayr. Naam, Urwa ibn
You were
Zubayr.
in the salah.
Where basically when he lost his look at the pain he went through.
Yeah.
He lost his 2 sons. They got crushed by an animal while he was on a journey. And in the journey, they told him he's got some kind of disease where they have to chop off one of his
leg.
foot. So yeah, one of his sons got crushed.
Yeah.
One of his sons got crushed, and they told him they have to chop off one of his
Feet or leg or something.
feet or one of his legs.
And then they're not in salah, right?
Yeah, sorry, that was Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, where an arrow went through his foot. And he told the people, he said, take it out from my foot, but it was too painful. Imagine when an arrow goes in your foot, when you pull it out, you're gonna take stuff out, right? So it was too painful for him, man. So he went into salah. And when he entered the salah, he said, take it out from me while I'm praying. He was praying, finished salah, he didn't even realize he took it out.
That's how focused and.
That's how focused he
But
was.
isn't that like a feeling of almost peacefulness, not high? Like
No, but the
Yeah,
point is
I
like
really
I understand what you're
I
trying to
think
say.
people know what I mean. The point is, it's only tough for those who don't know Allah, man.
Yeah,
And that's something. That's another problem now.
because they don't enjoy the salah. They don't find any.
Now I'm saying, how can you like not? How can you?
It's like a chore for some people, you know. It's like 5 times a day I have to get up, do wudu, wash myself, stand here, pray.
No, like if they really knew that they're standing before Allah, their Lord, I think it will, people it would be a lot different. Like Hassan radiallahu anh, every time he would go to pray salah, and he would go to do his wudu, he'd start trembling. They ask him, why are you shaking for?
There's a video that you did, right? That I remember a lot of people were commenting and
Salah
posting
one.
and saying that, yeah, man, like now, like my whole view. What was the name of that video?
It's
We'll
called
link it in the description.
Salah like you never heard it before.
Salah, like you never heard it before. I haven't watched it myself, but I heard
Yeah.
that a lot of good things about that video, man.
I
A lot
will
of
link
good
that.
things.
That will help them with the khushu', inshallah. They'll
Inshallah.
enjoy it.
Just on this issue of it easier, one thing I find, yeah, and this is, I think, is a big problem as well, is that a lot of parents, because the parents don't give the importance to the salah when they're nurturing and growing up and so on and so forth, because especially here in the West, you find that a lot of focus and drive is given towards secular studies and secular. Like, think about it. What the whole reason why our grandparents, great grandparents, or parents, whatever, came to this country from a Muslim land is because of what? No, they didn't come for the deen. Let's be honest. They came for dunya, right? So their priorities. Look, we came here, we settled here. So let's make a name for ourselves. So a lot of them, like for example, like the child will have an exam, right, and it takes up from the end of Dhuhr until all the way to Maghrib or something like that, or they got a class or something like that, and the parents will be like, no, yeah, no problem, inshallah, you can just pray later, or like, do you think that's a big problem? Personally, I think, especially in the Pakistani community, I think that's a huge problem where people prioritize the dunya over the deen, specifically when it comes to their children in terms of their education and job and this and that. Had a namaz, you can pray later, but just at least do the job interview, or at least do this, do that. Does that make sense?
It's a problem, but the Prophet ﷺ's parents were disbelievers. Ibrahim alayhi salam's dad was a disbeliever. Each person is going to be held accountable for their own. These kuffar, their mum and dad were Christian. Everyone's received the message of Allah Azza wa Jal.
No, when you put it
Everyone
like that,
knows Salah is wajib. There's not a single Muslim, whether their parents told them not or not, who who doesn't know Salah is wajib. Allah said, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Perhaps that their forefathers, they were people who they didn't know anything. They had they were not smart people, and they were not people who are guided. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can't, people can't make that excuse.
It does have a big role. Like even the Prophet ﷺ, when even the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith where he's telling us as a parent how to nurture the child upon salah. At 7 do this, at 8 do this, at 9, at 10, beat them. Or
I think it's just 7 and 10.
Yeah, 7 and 10. But
Beat
the point
them
is,
or discipline them?
obviously not beat. The word beat obviously has some negative connotations, but you just discipline them at 10. So the child should start praying really and truly at 7. But a lot of parents, they don't do that. In fact, they don't even tell them about the prayer. They just, whenever they go into the masjid for Jum'ah Salah, they take them with them. And then you wonder, when they're older, why are they Jum'ah Muslims? Because the only time they used to go to pray with their parents was the
Not only
time
that,
for
like
Jumu'ah.
even like for example, like when the parents themselves got married, for example,
Yeah.
that's sort of haram at their wedding. But now we're going off on a mad tangent, yeah. But the next one I want to talk about, inshallah, is the issue of how should you pray in terms of your posture. So I've been to masjid plenty of times. Uncles, they walk in, they're fit, healthy, whatnot, and when it comes to salah, they're sitting on a chair, or I mean, there's a difference between. Okay, we'll come to it, but first and foremost, let's talk about the fard salawat. So in terms of your two for fajr and so on and so forth, praying those, if you're able to stand, is it permissible for you to choose to sit on a chair?
Yeah, so let's just understand the discussion. I don't really want to talk about the issue of when uncles are old, sick, because this is going to become a fiqh class.
Yeah.
And it's gonna, but I think rather
Just general, as a general principle.
as in, I think staying on the issue of ease is good. As in, people who decide to pray sitting down from the angle of ease. Like for example, there's some people that just pray in their car, and they can get up out the car and pray.
Yeah.
There's some people, like for example, some Uber drivers would just pray in their car.
Not obviously while they're driving.
Some.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I remember I met one guy.
As in the actual guy is driving.
Yeah, and he's like,
Oh, wait, is it a Tesla?
Huh?
It's automatic. Like, as in he's not driving.
No, it's a true Prius, and he's at a drive, and I'm just like, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Praying Salat al-Khawf.
There was one prayer in Lahore. Yeah.
But what? That as in,
No.
does he put his head down like?
No,
That's
no,
dangerous,
no.
isn't it?
I'm saying there's if you think that's bad, there was one prayer in Lahore. His famous story is known. Yeah, he was a hadith rejecter, so he was a kafir, and he was smoking a shisha pipe, hookah pipe, and he had his eyes closed. So one of the mashayikh came up to him like, "Yo, what you doing, bro? Like you're claiming to be a sheikh, right? I understand you're rejecting hadith, but you're trying to be like a sheikh, like some righteous guy, and you're in a shisha kaf, basically. What you doing? And why you got your eyes closed?" And the guy's just airing the sheikh. Eventually, he opens his eyes and he goes, sorry, I was praying. He was praying while he was puffing shisha.
When we say praying, he might have meant as in I was just doing dua and I was in a state of.
No, that's for them. For
That is
them,
salah.
that's what
'Cause
salah.
they say they don't have to pray salah in it.
Oh,
They
okay.
reach
Yeah.
a certain maqam.
Yeah.
Daraja.
There's an ayah in the Quran
They
in
just don't
pray.
believe that the prayer is wajib. There's a brother who, at his work, there's a Qadiani, and he's been telling him, like, every time the brother goes to pray, he tells him, what are you doing? It's not,
That's
you're not
sad.
supposed to pray.
I think with the Sufis, it's because the
Right.
Quran it says pray until certainty reaches you. So they say that they've reached a certain level of yaqeen or certainty with it now applies to them that they no longer need to pray because they're that spiritual, that high. Do you get it? What I'm saying, even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was dying,
Greater than
The
the
certainty
Prophet,
refers to death.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So this is the problem with trying to interpret, the Quran by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was praying till he died.
That's what I'm saying. Even on his deathbed, he came out and said, "Have the believers prayed?" Like
Yeah.
that's how much importance.
Umar was going in and out of
Salah.
consciousness. He's saying, I haven't prayed.
Was it Umar or was it? Oh yeah.
Prophet
right,
was
yeah.
saying as-salah,
Okay,
as-salah.
yeah. So it was-
Ma malakat aymanukum.
Both of them, meaning that's just goes to show furthermore, how important it was. There was a point that you just mentioned. I was going to say something on. What was the last thing you just said?
The guy that went.
Oh yeah, even me. I was at uni one time. I remember. Yeah,
So what's the point you were making about the guy?
No, I just.
the guy
there's
was
a
saying
brother
he
who-
doesn't believe it's wajib in the first place.
Like whenever he sees the brother praying, he tells him, "What are you doing? It's not supposed to be praying."
Qadiani guy.
Yeah, you know what the story.
No, go on.
The yesterday story.
He does. He was there.
Yesterday.
No, that's a hadith reject the guy.
The guy
Yeah.
does
Yeah,
it.
he's a Qadiani, right?
Oh, is he Qadiani
Is
as
it
well?
Qadiani as well?
I'm pretty
Qadiani
sure he's a
hadith
Qadiani.
reject.
You know, hadith
that-
rejectors. How did they know
I'm sure
how
Once
many
it- once it-
salawat
once
to
it- once
pray?
it- that brother was Somali.
If
You know,
he's
one
not
time I
Qadiani,
met
then he's
a
a-
Somali
One
Qadiani one
that
time.
was shocking, man.
We met a Somali.
Why was it
Qadiani.
shocking?
I've never seen that.
You have to be born into Qadianism to be Qadiani, right? You can't convert.
No. You can.
Well, I'm thinking
No,
of
'cause
Judaism.
I think I saw a Somali Jew one time. That was.
Whoa.
I think he's either Somali or Ethiopian. One of the other.
Honestly, yeah, Somali people, yeah, generally speaking, they're on point compared to like Pakistanis.
That's
I'll
my
be
point.
honest
That's
with you.
what-
Pakistanis are
that's
mashed
what-
up.
so
that's
shocking.
what-
You
shock.
go there,
That's why
like
it's so shocking.
there's so
It was
much
surprising.
innovation and this and
Yeah,
Allah,
exactly,
but
yeah.
the Somali community, generally speaking, you do find
That's my
Yeah,
point.
Like,
100%.
a lot of them
That's
upon
the whole
the
point because they're
Sunnah.
Like
because
the
they're so
Somali-
on point that when you see something like that, you're like,
It shocks
what the
you.
hell is going on?
You know, it's funny because the Somali Qadiani guy, wallahi, when he saw us, he navigated to Guled. He was like, telling him, he was like, yeah, trust me, just the real deal. Like, yeah.
The imam's there. That's his grave.
That's all mad. But anyway, so coming back to it, so people they say that they don't need to pray anymore because they've reached a certain level of piety
Can I
where
ask a
they're
question?
above praying.
I'm so sorry, yeah. Why do they have such high-tech security at the
You don't need the ID
The-
card. You
Who?
need the ID card.
Oh, to get into Qadiani, to
you
Ahmadi
need to be
Masjid.
No,
registered
do you-
member.
do
It's
you
not
know-
in a masjid, it's a temple, right?
No, do you know why? Because
Yeah,
you have
it's a
to
temple.
understand.
Can't call it a masjid.
It's not a masjid, yeah, it's a temple.
It's a venue.
The Qadiani Ahmadi temple is actually, as far as I'm concerned, it's a government building, man. And that's why, like, do you need?
Oh, you're talking about because they get a lot of funding from the
no,
government.
no, not just that. Like, you know
Like
the
all
ayah,
that.
wa ati Allah wa
Yeah.
ati ar-Rasul.
Yeah.
Wa ulil amri minkum. That Allah Azza wa Jalla said, obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those who have been placed in authority over you. Who's those who have been placed in authority? That's one of the rulers, the Muslim rulers, and it's also talking about scholars. You know how they done tafsir of that,
Some
or
little
ta'wil, we
bit.
should say ta'wil of that, or tahrif, rather we should say. They done tahrif of that ayah. How did they do it? They done it by how?
The government.
By saying the British government. The guy,
So how do they implement that?
huh?
So like, what's like an
Obey
example?
Allah, the Messenger, and the British government.
No, but I'm saying, what's an example of them implementing that where it goes against Islam?
Okay. For example, the guy Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, in his
The guy who
right,
died in the toilet.
he didn't die on the toilet.
Sorry,
he
he
died
died
in
on
the
his
toilet.
bed.
Was it him who did a
He
mubahala?
did a mubahala.
Mubahala means that you say to someone like, if you're upon the truth, I swear by Allah to curse me, and then the other person says, yeah, if you're upon the truth,
To curse the liar.
yeah, basically, yeah, to curse the liar.
I don't think he even knows what that mobile
And a year or
We
two
don't
later,
advise
he
people
died.
to do that.
Yeah, no, we don't advise
I've
people
got
to
some
do that.
mubahala stories.
Yeah.
So he thought like the British government, were the
With the
was mentioned in the Quran.
basically, yeah.
They what? They said the British government was mentioned in the Quran.
Well, that's
They
the
didn't even
ayah.
exist at the time of the Quran.
It's not just that.
No, but they probably mean as in any government that you're living under.
No.
No.
He said British
He said a white
government.
man used to come to me. A white man
Yeah,
used
the
to-
angel.
Yeah, he said an angel used to come to me, and it was in the form of a white man.
Tichi, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Tichi.
Tichi, that's the name.
It's in
The
his book.
angel.
Rah, you men are pulling the madnesses, bro.
Yeah,
You know,
He's-
whenever I heard Tichi, you know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
Do you remember the masks thing, yeah, in Crash Bandicoot?
Hmm? I thought you were gonna say it reminds you of.
That's it. Dugu.
Should we play
No,
the
no,
video?
Hagamega. It's Hagamega. That's it.
Well, like,
Hagamega.
it reminds you of that whenever I teach you.
I thought
I
you were
don't know
gonna
what
say
you
it
guys
reminds you
talking
of the you know that game. What's that game called? Teach you something.
Let's move on, inshallah.
No, there's a game in it. It's like this small.
Oh,
Tamagotchi.
Oh,
Oh,
Tamagotchi.
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 Yeah, let's move on,
But
inshallah.
anyway, yeah, like Tichi is his angel, and he's saying he's wears a suit and
The point is,
tie,
that's mashup.
and the British guy comes to me, gives me revelation. Basically, some English don,
Basically an
some
agent.
queen servant or king servant was coming to him, telling him do this, don't do this, and he's gassing people saying it's an angel.
That's really teachy.
Anyway, we went off topic. Coming back to the point on
Sitting
people
down.
who sit down to pray.
Wow.
Wallahi, it's a big problem because the salah has pillars, and the pillars, like for example, this mic has a pillar right now. If this falls, what happens to my mic?
The mic's on the
It will
floor.
drop. If this collapses, what happens to the mic? It will drop. So the same way, my mic is resting on a pillar, the salah rests on pillars, and the salah, according to the Hanabila, there's 14 pillars. The
What's
Shafi'i,
Hanabila?
the Hanbali madhab,
Okay.
the Shafi'i don't really differ except on just like
Yeah.
it's basically the same thing that what they all ultimately saying. So there's pillars for the salah, and the salah rests upon these pillars. And if you're missing even one of them, the salah is gone. For example, takbirat al-ihram, to say Allahu Akbar at the beginning is a what? To say the takbir, to say Allahu Akbar at the beginning is a pillar. To read the Fatiha is a pillar. If a person didn't read Fatiha in his salah, then the salah is gone. To do sajda is a pillar.
Yeah.
To sit in tashahhud is a pillar. From the pillars is standing, as long as you have the ability. Does that make sense? And the ability, when can you say I don't have the ability to do this anymore?
When you physically can't.
It's when so this is ajz. The opposite of qudra, ability, is ajz, which is inability. So it's not for you to define. Oh, I can't, I don't have ability because I have to work.
Yeah.
I have ability because I'm on the motorway. No, that's not what inability is.
Yeah.
Inability is either you have pain or sickness such that you can't stand, or you have pain or sickness and standing would worsen it, or you have pain, sickness, and through standing, what will happen? You're going to experience an excruciating pain that is outside of bearable pain. Now, there's pain that you can bear, like, I've got a little bit of pain in my leg, but I can stand. But then there's that pain where you just can't stand. Does that make sense? So that's when you can say you don't have to stand anymore. You can sit. But these people, man, they're just driving. Well, I just stop the car, park
Pull
up.
over, pray.
Huh?
Just pull
Yeah,
over
pray
and pray.
salah, pull over on the street, pull over in the masjid. There's masajid everywhere.
Sure, I know one brother that he, whenever he's driving, he always has his prayer mat, jumps out, parks up, prays the salah.
Allah barik, man.
All the time.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
Always
Like,
encourages
You
people.
know who I'm talking
And he
about.
always encourages people towards the salah as well.
Yeah.
May Allah reward him for that.
I mean,
Always, almost every day he's telling people pray.
Talking about you.
This time we actually are talking about you.
so the next thing the next point that we're gonna get to of why people this salah is a bit mash up is people who pray without doing wudu or they've done wudu but the wudu's mash up. So first of all, why is wudu even important?
There is a hadith which is mentioned in the Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim,
Okay.
narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi
Sallallahu
wa
alayhi
said,
wasallam.
لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He would not accept the salah of any single one of you who is impure until he does wudu. Until he does wudu. Meaning that if a person wants to pray his salah and he wants his salah to be accepted, right, then he has to come with what is known as al-wudu. Okay? No acceptance, meaning your salah is rejected. Rejected. Does that make sense?
So, just in case there's any hadith rejectors watching, do we have an ayah, Taha?
This is for you, hadith rejector.
تفضل مشكور.
Huh? Recite the ayah with that qira'ah jamila, mashallah.
Do it warsh for us.
Huh?
Taha's warsh, you know that?
Hey.
It's warsh, Allah
Allahu
barik.
Akbar. Go on.
Nothing.
I thought it
If
was
you put me on the
Algerian.
spot, you're gonna have to recite now.
Huh?
Allah said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق. And then Allah describes the wudu there. So Allah said, oh, you who believe, if you stand up for the salah, فاغسلوا وجوهكم, wash your face. Is a command.
Again, stand.
Stand, look at that. Yeah, so al-amru taqtad al-wujub. A command, it shows obligation. So Allah said, if you stand for the salah, faghsilu wujuhakum. Allah commanded you, wash your faces.
Yeah.
Then what did he say? Wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq. This is an important point to make because a lot of people, especially the Pakis out there, they don't know
The elbows included.
Yeah.
No, not the elbows. I think they do wash the elbows. They don't wash the hands again.
Yeah.
Now, for example,
Oh,
people
yeah.
think that you wash the face and then you wash the arm to the elbow. Allah didn't say wash the arm to the elbow. Allah said wash your hands to your elbow. So you have to come back to the hand. And if you miss the hand there, your wudu is not a
So
fight.
even if they wash the hand in the beginning, it doesn't matter.
What if
No,
somebody
because
says...
because it's the washing
it's
of
an
the
order,
hands at the
yeah.
beginning is sunnah according to the majority of the ulama. But there is a point that I do want to mention here, which is that, you know, the wudu itself
Yeah.
has conditions.
Uh-huh.
The wudu itself will not be valid if you get certain things wrong.
Uh-huh.
For example, one of the conditions to the wudu is that any surface area on your body where the water has to touch, there cannot be any barrier between that part of your body, whether it be your nails or your skin, and the water. Does that make sense? And this is where we find a lot of problems when it comes to sisters,
Why?
because they use makeup, specifically nail polish,
Nail varnish.
right?
Okay. What's wrong with that?
So obviously nail polish, it places a coat
Okay.
of that polish or that varnish over your nail,
Uh-huh.
such that now the water will not reach there. Does that make sense?
But there's a solution.
And you have to understand something, like, you know how big this is. Like, you know, the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw the people that were making wudu,
Yeah.
then they were not cleaning the heels of their feet properly.
Uh-huh.
You know, because getting the heel is the hardest part, right? Because it's kind of, you have to go out of your way to make the water go over the hill.
Yeah.
So the Prophet said, وَيْلُ لِلْأَعْقَابِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Allah said, save.
The Prophet said.
Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ said,
Sallallahu
save your heels from the fire. Save your heels from the fire. Meaning, the fact that you're missing the water on that part of your feet,
That might be a reason for
there's
you
going to be a reason for the hellfire. And if your feet are in the hellfire, what is it going to be that your feet are in the hellfire and the rest of your body's in Jannah? No, all of it. And the opposite is also true. Another hadith, a beautiful hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that on the Day of Judgment, he will be able to recognize his ummah from who? From
Signs
how?
of wudu.
The marks of salah, and on sajda on the forehead, and the marks of wudu. Like, they'll be glowing. The Prophet said they'll be ghurran muhajjalin. Like, it's important for sisters to understand, because they want to be beautiful, right?
Yeah.
On the Day of Judgment, they'll be ghurran muhajjalin. What does ghurran muhajjalin mean? You know, you have horses that were
Yeah.
black,
Yeah.
but there was a certain type of horse, and remember, the black horses are the ones that are sought after, powerful, you know, strong. They were just, you know, like the black steed horse. But there was one that was a beautiful type that would stand out from all of the others. And that was one that had a white streak running through it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that, like a beautiful white streak that runs from your head all the way down its back.
Yeah.
So if there was a bunch of black horses, but there was that one that had a beautiful streak running through it, it would stand out, right?
Yeah.
The Prophet said that these people will come from my ummah, the marks, the wudu that they done, the way that they wash. Wallah, it's so beautiful. Like, wallah, sisters talk about beauty, and it's, wallah, you're going to be insecure. You know, they say, oh, I'll put a makeup because I'm insecure. You're going to be insecure on that day. Like, literally, you're going to have no security. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't do your wudu correct, but if you do your wudu correct, the Prophet will be able to highlight you. It's like a highlighter that just went through you. He'll be able to, she's from my ummah. She's from my ummah. And the Prophet will be able to help save you, and of course the brothers and men and women and all that. So the ummah will be beautified based on the wudu. But imagine that the water didn't touch there. It never touched there. It's nail polish.
But I've got a solution for you.
Go on.
Halal nail polish.
Ooh, is it really halal though? Should we do an experiment?
Should we find out? Should we do it?
Should we check?
Should we do it?
Go on.
Let's do it.
That's it.
Done. Okay, so assalamu alaikum brothers and specifically sisters. So now inshallah we're going to be doing our experiment to test out how halal is halal nail polish. So in order for it to be halal, obviously it needs to allow water to go through the whole layer, and so it reaches your nail and therefore your wudu is valid. The contenders are, we've got Andrea, which has actually got a halal logo on the bottle. We've got 786. That's spooky from the get-go, so not much needs to be said about that. We've got Vivian Condor. Now this one doesn't mention anything about halal or being permeable, but I'm pretty sure when I ordered it online that it did say it was permeable. If not, then that's a waste of money. We've got Inglot O2M, breathable nail enamel. So again, this is apparently halal. We've got Maya. Apparently this is quite a big contender. And this one is also, it says water/oxygen permeable. And last but not least, we've got a Control. So this is a normal nail polish, which should not be water permeable. And we're going to apply this, and this one shouldn't let water through. So if this one does let water through, then we know that the test itself is flawed. Or this might be water permeable, and they just decided not to tell us. What brand is it? It's Crayola. We're a bit broke. We just went to Amazon, tapped in nail polish, sort by lowest pricing, and this is the cheapest one of the cheapest that we could find that had next day delivery. So let's get to it. So how are we going to test it? Well, number one, we've got this. This is water indicator tape. And this basically should change color from white to red if it comes into contact with water, as we're going to demonstrate shortly. And this is a coffee filter. So we're going to see, does the water penetrate through the coffee filter if there's a layer of nail polish in between. So first things first, we've got the water indicator tape. I've got a piece here that I cut earlier. Let me just turn this camera on. So you can see here, we have a piece of this. So we're going to apply water on here and it should change color. What we're also going to do is just apply a bit of sellotape to the edges. And the reason for that is, obviously once the nail polish is on, we won't be able to see the actual layer to see whether it's changed the color or not. But the water should make the entire thing, or at least a good portion of it, change color. So we'll just put that there. And I'll apply one single drop of water near where the sellotape is, and we should see an immediate change in color. And the change in color should also carry on underneath the sellotape. Okay, so in the meantime, while that's happening, I'm just going to prepare the rest of the nail polishes. Apply a layer of nail polish and then let them dry. So this is the blue one. Oops, I missed. Oops, okay. There you go. And we're just going to let that dry. That's one. Okay, so as you can see, this has changed color. The water has actually gone through the water indicator tape, and actually it's showing underneath the sellotape. So that's proof that the sellotape does not block the water. Let me just remove that water off. Okay. Now I'm going to take off the sellotape, lift it up, and you should be able to see underneath. You can also see that where the water contacted it, it's changed color. So even if you can't see on top, you should be able to see underneath that it has changed from dark red, as you can see here and here, to light red in the middle here. So that's proof that it works, and we should be looking for these results when we do the nail polish. We're going to let these dry, and then I'm going to put sticky tape on the ends, and then I'm going to apply a couple of drops of water on each one. I'm not going to rub it in. We're going to leave it, wait about 5 minutes, see if anything happens. After 5 minutes, then we're going to start rubbing it in, and wait another 5 minutes, see if anything happens. Okay, so we've left the nail polish to dry. It's been approximately about 10 minutes. 5 minutes we obviously used the timer, but it was drying for about 10 minutes before that. 5 minutes before that, so 10 minutes overall. So let's just take a look at each one just to make sure that it actually is dry. Okay, I'll just, there we go. Tap that with my finger. No. Yep, there's nothing on the finger. Tap my other finger on this one. Oop. Nothing on that one. Tap my other finger on this one. We just don't want to get any cross-contamination in case that affects our results. Nope, nothing on there. I feel booky even using this one, man. Oops, there we go. That's the second time that one's done a flip. That's how you know this one's booky. It's been doing backflips all day. We're basically going to put sellotape on the ends of each one. And we should then apply water, and we should see the tape changing color. Okay, so we've applied the water. It's been sitting there for approximately about 5 minutes now. We're just gonna go around and just have a look at each one. Has any water gone through it? If not, we're just gonna give it a quick rub, make sure the water goes all the way around, and then see if that makes any difference, because some of these brands say that in order for the water to go through, you have to rub them. Some say like for a minute or something like that, but realistically, who's going to rub each nail for 1 minute? But we can give it a go, no problem, inshallah. So I'll just bring it here, and what we'll do is lift up the sticky tape. Oops. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to check underneath. Nope, no water change, although on this one there is a slight bit of nail polish. Okay, so we have this. I thought this camera was recording this whole time, but it wasn't. So what I'm going to do is basically just rub the water in, back and forth, up until the sellotape and even onto the sellotape. And let's just see if we have any change of color. So remember, we're looking for change of color on this side and on this side, yeah? Because remember, the water is going all the way. And as you saw, the original test one, the water spread very, very, very fast. And I was actually rubbing it quite hard. So we're just gonna leave that one there to sit, see if we have any color changes there. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a look using this camera, get a close-up of each one, see what the results were for this test. Okay, so this is the Vivian, whatever it's called. As you can see, on this side, there's absolutely no redness whatsoever. On this side, however, there is a slight amount of redness. On the top, we can see on this side here, absolutely no water. On this side here, absolutely no water. This one, again, over in the corner, which was my fault. And look, you can actually see, look how thin it is. You can see the white underneath it. So that's part one. I'm gonna crack on with the second part of the experiment. We've just got these coffee filters, and we're basically just gonna apply a layer of nail polish to them, place the water on top, and see if anything happens. Okay, so the time is up. So firstly, we're just going to quickly, they should have all dried. They seem to be dry. We're just going to have a quick look at what we're expecting. Obviously we're expecting the water to go through. So I'll just place a drop here, and as you can see, that has spread very, very fast. And if I turn it around on the bottom, you can see it as well, it's spread both sides, and it's wet, you can feel it. at the bottom. It's definitely wet. Okay, so that's that done. So now, let's get to testing these ones. So it's been a couple of minutes and the water is still just sitting there at exactly the same level. Doesn't seem to have absorbed at all. So what we're going to do is just rub it in. So we'll start off here. Just want to be careful to not get the water around the edges, and otherwise obviously it will show up. So I'm just going to rub it here in the middle. So what we're looking for is the water to penetrate the middle. I'm just going to rub it here. And we should see wetness at the bottom. I'll just rub it up and down as well. Okay, that's that. And then we'll use a different finger. Actually, no, we'll use the same finger, it doesn't make a difference. This is the 786. The water doesn't seem to have gone through at all. This is the inglot. I have to be very careful because this is just quite actually a thin section. So I want to be very careful. Oh, wow. That was close. Oops. The little drop right there at the top almost came off. I mean, none of them appear to be letting any water through. We've done that. What I'm going to do now is basically just lift each one up. I'm going to try and be very careful because the water's still on there, and from what it looks like, none of them have absorbed any water. I mean, literally it was 3 drops and it still seems to be 3 drops. This one, I don't know if it's just the fact that because it's literally, oh, there we go. It actually looks exactly the same as when I first put it on. Let's try this one first. So I'm going to try and be very careful. There seems to be a little bit of wetness there actually. Let me just lift it up.
Is it recording? Is it recording?
Yeah.
Did it flop?
I mean, it doesn't seem to have gone through. This one, there's no wetness on the paper whatsoever. And underneath, if you have a quick look.
Did you rub it?
Yep, rubbed it.
Rubbed it as well, yeah?
Yeah. There's no wetness. Just feel that underneath it. Is there any wetness on it? Don't push too hard, otherwise the water's going to tip over.
One second. I don't know, 1 second. No, it's nothing.
Okay. Just feel this one. Because this one, there was a bit of a patch. Well, I think that might just be nail polish. Feel the bottom of it.
Nope, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, that's good because that's the actual control one. This is quite a big boy inglot. But just be very careful that you don't spill the water by rubbing it from underneath.
Fully dry, bro.
This one as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the experiments. Now, a few quick disclaimers. Number one, like I said earlier, many times, we're not saying this is conclusive. We're not saying this is the haqq. We're not saying that this is 100% foolproof. Not at all. There might have been issues with the way we tested it. There might have been issues with the batch that we received. There could be a million issues with it. But the question is, are you prepared? Are you willing to risk your salah just for a bit of nail polish? I mean, from what we saw, not a single one of them let any water through, let alone to the level of each millimeter of your nail has to be covered. So that's what we've seen. Like I said, it's not conclusive. Maybe there's other methods. I mean, I know some companies on the website say that it lets through oxygen and water vapor. Now, water vapor is very interesting because when you're doing wudu, washing your hands, you're not washing your hands with water vapor, you're washing your hands with water, liquid water. So where does water vapor come into it? You're supposed to go to the kettle, turn it on and put your nails on top of the little hole where the steam comes out and hope that it goes through. Some of them say rub it for 1 minute. Are you really going to spend 1 minute rubbing each nail thoroughly? That's 10 minutes just on washing your hands to begin with, not to mention you have to wash your hands all over again when you wash your arms. So you're going to spend 10 minutes on 10 fingers at the beginning, 10 minutes again later on. That's a half an hour wudu. Come on, are you really going to spend half an hour? I mean, the whole reason you bought this nail polish is so that you wouldn't have to go through taking off your other one, reapplying it. I mean, surely this would actually take longer if you have to do wudu multiple times a day. I don't know. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Let's go back to Ciao Ma Bhai. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. So, as you guys just saw, those results are probably not what you guys were expecting. Now, a few disclaimers before we get sued left, right and centre from all these companies. We're not saying that this is conclusive and that, that this is could have been issues with, the nail polish that the batch that we got was defective, qadrullah, all 6 suppliers.
Some really far-fetched,
there could be a reason why it happened, or maybe, the method that we use is another method that we're supposed to do. And
even though that was the method that they recommended for us to use.
Some of them recommended.
Because they actually told us to do that with the coffee filters.
Some of them, with the coffee filters. And some of them say that
basically we're just covering our backs, but
some of them say that it's, water vapor. Can go through, but not liquid water. But then it's like when you do wudu, are you putting your fingernails over a kettle and letting the water go? No, you're not. You're washing it with.
Even if only one of those results, it worked, it went through.
The point is, why are you gonna risk it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why would you risk it? Especially since even the ones that if it does go through, it's never the whole section with the water went through. It's there's one little part of it in the corner where I'm guessing maybe the coat didn't apply properly, therefore it's went through, or so on and so forth. The point is that
and just to highlight, you only used one coat. Most girls put on several coats.
Yeah, and they put overcoat.
Huh?
No, not overcoat. What's it called?
Overcoat. That's a jacket.
No, it's a jacket. Top coat.
Okay, I'm saying they use many coats. I'm saying if it's not going through that one small, teeny tiny coat.
Because remember, it has to touch the whole nail.
Yeah.
There can't be a single part of the nail where the water did not touch.
And some of them say you have to be rubbing it into your nail for
30 seconds or a minute per nail. So it's imagine, sister, are you really gonna spend 10 minutes on 10 fingers?
Yeah,
just 1 minute per nail. You're gonna spend 10 minutes.
Claws, they get fake nails.
Fake nails definitely. There's no.
I don't think anyone.
No, but the issue is this: even if they're rubbing it in, there's no guarantee because you rubbed something and it didn't even go through.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they said. They say
rub it in.
Apparently,
Yeah.
personally, I just feel like people like to make money off sisters.
Yeah.
They like to make money off our deen, so they come out and say halal this. Bruv, one of the makeup said halal like it was a chicken shop.
It's like the halal Haribos. It's already halal.
Yeah, that's a discussion for a different day, though.
They don't know about it.
Sad thing is, you got people who are seen as scholars and seen as da'is and this and that, and they're coming out and endorsing it themselves, saying this is
really. Someone endorsed the.
Yeah.
What did you say again?
Endorsed what? Sorry.
I think what he said is that sisters who wear nail polish, because usually it's done during menstruation. Therefore, when sisters wear nail polish outside or something, people will know that she's on a period, and therefore it's embarrassing for her. So therefore, she should be allowed to wear it out. All women wear it at all times. Therefore, you can't tell who's on the period and who's not.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So he's actually what joke man said this?
Omar Suleiman.
Huh?
Omar Suleiman.
Say wallahi.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Don't know,
No
bro.
way.
Yeah. It was funny.
That's ridiculous.
That's some mad khiyas.
Number one, you're telling them to go out there and beautify themselves.
Yeah.
Firstly,
But they even saying that makeup, a little bit of foundation, and a little bit of, some of them are saying coming out and saying. That was Abu Isa, right? Who said foundation?
No, he said lipstick. As long as it's
lipstick.
not red.
As long as it's not red, yeah.
Welcome for these
What if it's
brothers.
green?
Huh?
What if it's green or blue?
What if it's pink?
Purple or
Yeah.
It's the what's it called again? Brain liquor.
What the hell is a brain liquor?
I can tell you're still a child, man.
No, what's a brain liquor? Sorry.
No, really good. That sweet that kids have, and it changes the color of their lips.
Yeah, that's mad.
They don't want it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah,
Anyway, the point is that
but can I tell you something? I'll be real with you. The same way these makeup companies are just trying to sell you.
yeah,
based
bro,
on
it's
your
a,
religion.
it's a billion-dollar industry, man.
So are these sheikhs. They're just trying to sell you based on it. They're just trying to sell it.
Okay, but let me ask you a question now, right?
Nice, man. Allah barik.
Let me ask you a question,
What
Imran.
you got on?
That's what happens when you get married.
Huh?
Isn't it?
Imran,
That smells peng. Allah barik.
listen, I was gonna say, yeah. So
Shout out
obviously, we're telling sisters not to risk it, but why shouldn't they risk it? What are the risks?
I'm still shocked. How's he saying go out there? He's number one. He's telling them. This is actually shocked. He's supposed
I don't
to be.
think anyone even looks at.
You know, he's a
Salah
big
with
time
it.
supporter of this stuff, isn't it?
Huh?
He's a big supporter of this stuff.
No, one second. You have to
That's
break
mad.
down
I
what's
didn't
wrong.
realise that
I
myself.
can't just pass it like that. Number one, a woman who's on her menses shouldn't be wearing her nail polish outside anyway.
In the first place,
It's only amongst her family, and okay, if they know you're on your period, it's not the end of the world. Number two, like, by you now encouraging them, you're encouraging them to do something which is going to make their prayer nullified. Nullified.
no, he believes that. That's what I'm saying. These guys, they back these halal certifications, saying that it's halal.
It's halal and all that kind
They
of
say it's
stuff.
permissible. That's what they're saying. It's not
Have you done the
nullified.
test?
I don't know. I mean, some companies say that they do.
I think it's from the angle
Some
of-
companies do theoretical tests. They say because we've done a test where oxygen can go through it,
So they never even
science
tested
says
it.
that oxygen and hydrogen can both go through it, and then therefore they can go through
Wow,
it
you're
combined.
telling
Therefore,
me-
water is
I want
oxygen
to
and
be
hydrogen
honest.
H2O. It can go through it.
You're telling me.
Doesn't
You're
work.
telling me.
Some
that
companies.
they never. Some of them
compromise
never
with you.
even tested it, and the sisters are saying it's halal, and they're taking it and they're using it.
One thing a lot of people do, yeah, is that they test it on kitchen roll, tissue paper.
Yeah.
But that's hugely flawed, and the reason why that's hugely flawed is because tissue paper is porous, right? Meaning, even the nail polish is going to go through it onto the other side, right? And the issue with that is that, say for example, the nail polish has gone through it. Now, there's not going to be a layer of nail polish across the whole thing. Now, there's going to be little holes, little gaps in there. Of course, water's going to get through. Of course, water's going to go through. It's
So
like
you have to apply it on something with a whole coat.
something with like it's like
dry.
it's like this table, for example, where you know there's going to be a whole coat. Whereas if it's all crumpled up, like think about it, a tissue has basically got loads of little creases in it.
Yeah.
Those little creases are like jagged edges, so there's going to be a coat on the top, but inside it's going to be like that. So there's going to be nail polish here, and maybe like a little bit here, but there's going to be a gap here where there's no nail polish, and the water's just going to go through.
You want a motion graphics of that? That would be sick. if you
That
just
would be
motion
sick. Yeah,
I'm
we could do
very
that.
excited
Yeah.
about
Basically, all you have to do is a flat line, nothing go through. Jaggedy, and it can go
I'm a
through.
motion graphic artist. If you have any work for me,
He's a marketer. If you got any work for him, I'm a driver, courier. If you got any
I can
work
do
for me,
anything, sure.
whatever you need him to be.
And he does security. You can't see him, but he does security.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the point of the point. What are the risks if you are doing these things, all of which which can jeopardize your salah, your prayer? What are the risks? Wait, should we quickly, before we go into that, should we quickly just mention a few other reasons why people don't pray? For example, I'm scared of the kuffar. I'm running late. I want to pray when I get home because even though time's going to be late, because I don't want to pray in the street. Like imagine like John and Terry are going to be looking at me thinking, right, or Stephen and Gerard are going to be looking at me like.
Sometimes people prioritize their work. Sometimes people prioritize their work over salah. For example, they woke up late. They have to pray fajr.
Yeah.
But their work starts at 9. If they don't leave in the next 5 minutes, then they're
Gonna be late.
Gonna be late. So would you rather? And something that's actually what I found as well. For example, let's say I'm going to work late. When I used to work at some company, I used to go late quite a bit, fortunately. But anyway, one time I was running really late.
I like how you say company.
Yeah. So I thought I was running late, and obviously salah time kicked in. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to pray now. I'm gonna be even later, but qadar Allah. So I prayed. After I prayed, I was running late, and I jumped on a bus, went to the train station, and qadar Allah, the train station, it took me one stop, like before the stop that I usually get off at to get to the office, which is in the company, which is in Brentford. So anyway, that's when I found out there was actually another route for me to get to work that saved me like 15-20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So by you praying and leaving later, you actually got to work
So
on
that-
time.
I actually found a route that got me to work 15 minutes earlier, and that's the route I take now.
So you got to work on that day early, or you were still late?
No, I was still late, but I was.
Okay.
I
But
came
other
earlier
days he
than-
came earlier.
Okay.
So
Alhamdulillah.
look at that.
What about
Allah
today?
made ease.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you something, yeah. There's one other issue, and then from this we can maybe conclude, which is another reason why people don't pray, is or rather they pray, like the people sisters who wear nail polish, they pray, right? There's another reason people they pray, but their prayer could be nullified, and that is the fact that they don't cover their aura. They don't cover their aura. I don't want to go too deep, whatnot. It's not fiqh lesson, but the point is, like, you know, brothers, man, they so many times brothers are praying, and then they go into ruku or sajda, their lower back is showing. Sisters as well. Sisters, they have their neck showing. Remember, as for the sister, المرأة كلها أورى إلا وجهها والكفان في الصلاة. The entirety of the woman is awra in the prayer, except her face and her hands. Of course, outside the salah, they say the niqab is.
You know, in East London Masjid, my family was telling me that the one time she was there, and there was these again Somali sisters, mashallah, on point, and there's a lot of, obviously it's a Bengali area, right? There's a lot of Bengali sisters who were praying, and they didn't have socks on, they weren't covering their feet.
Wow.
Somali sisters were going around, sister, your salah, you won't be accepted. Like, you know, cover your feet. This and that. They were saying, why? Like, you don't need to. This and that. Because obviously in the Hanafi, I think it's the Hanafi madhab, they believe that you don't have to cover your feet. But you know, they're going to tell him, like, look, this is your salah. Like, you're risking your salah. And they were like, no, chill, it's not like this is how
I
we
mean,
pray.
whatever madhab it is, the Prophet ﷺ said
Sallallahu alaihi
that
wasallam.
the entirety of the woman is awra. The entirety, awra is something that needs to be covered. So the entirety of the woman needs to be covered. In the salah, the only two exceptions are the hands and the face.
I'm not justifying it for women, but of course it's more covering that they have to do. So it's surprising when brothers, they don't cover their aura when they're praying.
I
It is
personally
surprising,
think,
isn't it?
you know what the issues with brothers, yeah?
Like, all you have to do is wear a shirt and trousers.
I said with brothers is quite annoying, innit? Because
Not even that. Like, you just cover your aura. Sorry, just from your belly button to your knees, bro. You
You have to cover your shoulders
you
as
wrap,
well.
wrap a towel.
In salah, there's a shoulder. In salah, you have to have something come off your shoulder as well.
Your vest, yeah.
I see the issue with brothers is very annoying, innit? Because it's not too difficult, innit? I feel like brothers who don't cover their aura properly, they make it difficult on other brothers that when they see them, they have to like fix them like in the salah.
Yeah, and I know
I've seen them,
I
man.
know. That's one more point.
Wait, what? His hands?
Hands on someone's backside just to kind of fix.
Thinking about you.
It didn't point on no one's backside.
Oh,
bro.
no.
On
I've
his
seen
back.
it.
saw that as well.
I've seen it in the masjid where for Jum'ah. This is
No, literally,
during the
but-
khutbah.
No, get out of here. What are you talking about, bro? A'udhu billah.
Like, he actually put his finger in his butt. And I was thinking, what's this guy
That's what
doing?
you call sexual deviancy, bro. That's some sexual deviancy right there,
I
bro.
didn't say you, bro. I'm not talking about you.
Okay, yeah, because me, when I done it, you saw something. When I done it, there was a brother, his back, I just pulled his shirt down for him.
Okay, yeah.
Would you pull the shirt down or the boxes up? The shirt down, right?
Yeah, my G.
Okay, I'm just saying.
A'udhu
No,
billah.
'cause there was one guy.
Give him a wedgie?
There was one guy in the masjid, didn't it? It was so funny. It was for Jum'ah, and it was during the khutbah, and the guys are sitting there with like, let's cross over, and it's obviously it's crack showing in it. So another uncle sitting next to
crack
me.
was showing?
Yeah, so another uncle
So you
sitting
say
next
even
to
if
me.
you put the shirt down, it wouldn't cover it.
I don't know in it, but he reached over to try and cover it in it. But I don't know what happened. He put the way the guy, like everyone looked at it like, bro, like what just happened, kind of thing, innit? He's looking around like, who's touching me, bro? So I don't know. It's one of those ones where if that happens, yeah, should you try and fix it, or should you just tap the brother and say, look, by the way, you're.
Like, wallah, I'll be
what are you
honest, it's the
showing?
most uncomfortable thing. Brothers just need to just fix up, man. Like, it's not deep. Like,
It's not difficult. It's just
No, they've got this
Bro,
thing now.
I'll be honest
They've
with
got this thing now where you can actually like
Tie it.
attach something to your shirt and the bottom of it underneath your trousers.
can I
I
give
see advertisements all the time. And
can I give
don't
you
know,
can I give brothers a tip if they
Go on.
really are gonna do that? Can I give them a tip that will really help them? Yeah, is
So should I extend it, yeah?
huh?
Should I extend it?
No, let's dip in a
No,
second.
let's
But
dip.
I'm saying the tip that I'll give to brothers is just lift your boxes high. If you really that day you're stuck here, you're really stuck that day. You know, you didn't wear a vest underneath that you could tuck in.
or tuck your shirt inside your boxes.
No, but I'm saying if they can't do that, I'm saying just take your boxes and just lift them high because the boxes are quite stretchy and elastic. And if
Yeah.
you're wearing one of them male,
That's
you know,
not enough already.
jellies
Okay,
and
so
that.
the last thing that that's not even on.
This
Just
calm.
turn off now, or else we're laughing.
I don't know. We have to take that and just carry on in it.
Okay, so the last thing that we're going to mention, all these things that we mentioned, why are these so risky? What are the dangers if you don't pray? Does anyone know?
What are the dangers if you don't pray?
Yeah. Now, what's the risk? What are you risking by not praying?
You're risking your
Or praying.
your akhirah, all of it.
Why?
Because the first thing you're going to be questioned about is your salah. And if it's good, then everything else is good that follows it. And if it's bad, then
Where did you get that from?
it's the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other reasons?
No, I mean, what more reason do you need than that? Like, if your salah is good, then everything
No, is
after
there any
is
more evidences to back that point up? If that makes sense.
good. Yeah, I mean, the Prophet said that the
Sallallahu alaihi
salah,
wasallam.
you know, it is the thing that makes us different from the disbelievers. The narration of the Prophet said, "Man tarakaha." The hadith is in Sahih Muslim. Akhi, it's clear cut. Muhammad ibn al-Shanqiti said, "There's no evidence that shows that if a person doesn't pray, he becomes a kafir stronger than this." The Prophet said, "Man tarakaha faqad kafar." Anyone who abandoned the salah, he became a kafir. He became a disbeliever.
So, but does that mean like in totality, or does it mean like even if you miss
abandon
one
even
prayer?
one salah intentionally?
You're talking about
Shaykh
kufr
Ibn Baz
asghar,
rahimahullah
kufr
said if he
akbar.
goes to sleep and he intentionally didn't turn on the alarm to wake him up for Fajr, and he knows I will not wake up without a Fajr alarm, he became a kafir the moment he intended to not turn on the alarm for Fajr.
SubhanAllah. But then if that is the case, how did you come back into the fold of
Just start
Islam?
praying again.
So as soon as you start praying again,
Yeah.
So if someone's watching this right now and they haven't prayed the last prayer,
Just pray.
like do all the right now,
Yeah.
go and pray the current
What
salah.
if a person he's watching this video and he realized, wow, I made a big mistake. I've been doing qaza or whatever that's called, and a few other things that I shouldn't be doing.
Do they have to make up all the prayers
Yeah,
that
do they
they
have to
missed
make up
previously?
everything they've done before, or can they just start praying now?
No.
I remember when I first started practicing, the masjid I was in, it was the Wandi masjid, and they told me,
he was getting in there.
bro, they told me I had to make up the last 6-7 years prayers
calculate
that I
everything.
missed, calculate it, and basically do like, so after I pray Dhuhr, pray another Dhuhr for 2011 Dhuhr.
You know
And then-
what it's like. It's like, for example, the Queen. If you have an appointment with the Queen
Yeah,
and you don't make it on time,
yeah.
she's not going to give you a revisit. You're not going to be able to make up that appointment. So what about Allah? When you the prayer time that He's appointed
That's
for
such a
you
good
at-
point. I've never
at
heard a point like
specific-
that.
I'm just like an analogy. For example, the Allah Azza wa Jal,
Yeah.
if He makes an appointed time for you to pray, which is basically for you to come to at that time to pray, and you miss it, then khalas, that time is gone. You can't come back. You can't bring that back.
But if someone says, for example, if I'm fasting and I miss it during Ramadan because I'm traveling, I can bring it back.
There's specific
That's-
evidence for.
No, because I remember because obviously when I spoke to Ustad about it, he mentioned that no, all you have to do is repent to Allah and start praying from now on.
And
I remember
also,
Abu Taymiyyah though. I remember there was a discussion. He mentioned there's actually some valid points that the people who say you have to bring back your salah.
there's a khilaf. There is
There's
a khilaf.
on
But the point
issue.
is, the strongest view is, as Taha mentioned, that
You don't need to.
you don't bring it back. But what you do though is that you should pray as much extra sunnah praise as you can to try and patch up anything.
Tahajjud and your rawatib al-sunan and all
What's the
of that.
rawatib sunnah?
The 12 sunan prayers throughout the day.
What are the 12?
Which will the 2 before Fajr, the 4 before Dhuhr, the 2 after Dhuhr, the 2 after Maghrib, the 2 after Isha. That makes it 12.
And by the way, I don't think a lot of people realize it's just on the issue of ease. That, for example, Dhuhr is not 12 rak'ah that you have to pray. Isha is not 17 rak'ah that you have to pray. I remember when I was growing up.
Let's not open that door.
Why?
Let's not open
No, because
No,
a lot of
no.
people won't pray
No,
because
I-
mentally for them it's I have to get
I
up and
did
pray.
not- I for a long time. when I was
70.
young,
Yeah,
it-
even me. When I
it's
first
not-
started practicing,
the
I
reason
believe
why
that I have to
is
pray
because
every
they'll
single
fully
I've,
one.
stop
I've
praying
seen
sunnah, right?
people
You're
that
right.
when they get advised, you don't have to do that.
Okay, but let me ask you a
I know,
question.
but
What's
as
the greater harm?
Apostating, man.
A few people leaving, or people not even praying in totality because they believe that I have to pray 17 rak'ah for Isha. I'm tired, I'm going to sleep.
Do you remember you?
17.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was shocked when these men.
Bro, that's
they-
Tarawih.
Huh?
This
You
guy,
wanna pray
when I,
Tarawih?
Yeah, I'm saying when I first started practicing, I was like
That's
on
it.
every
Just
single.
to
I
put
used
it
to
into
pray my
context,
sunnah,
that's
nafil,
Tarawih you're
everything.
praying.
Yeah.
That's just to put it
Obviously
into
now we still
context.
do, but the point is that just to mention is that for Fajr you only have to pray 2. For Dhuhr you only have to pray 4. For Asr you only have to pray 4. For Maghrib you only have to pray 3. And for Isha you only have to pray 4. Even the witr is not wajib according to the strongest
But it's
opinion.
really,
But it's really like
emphasized. And-
emphasized, and the 2 sunnah before Fajr as well. But
And
the
why
point
would you
being-
not pray those sunnahs, those 12 sunnah that he mentioned? The Prophet said, whoever reads them Allah will give you a house
Oh,
in
without a shadow
Jannah.
of doubt, of course, it's better if you pray, and we would encourage you and say to you,
They want
pray
a
them.
mortgaged house. They don't want,
But
they want a house in Jannah.
But don't leave off your salah because you think, oh, it's so long, I have to pray, 52 rak'ah a day or whatever. I think it's like, what is it? What's the
Some mad number.
It's some big number. But the point is, there's only those, I think it's 17 rak'ah in total that you have to pray throughout the whole day, which are obligatory for you to pray. The rest of them you don't have to pray. But again, still it's better to pray. I think it's, yeah. Anyway,
If I could just mention one ayah before we end, because
that's the last one, then we'll end it there.
Because this ayah sums up the whole issue. Because you mentioned about what's the risk and danger of not praying, or or you're having your salah nullified. Right now we spoke about people not praying or praying incorrectly based on desires, the way that they dress.
Yeah.
So their auras not covered, desires, makeup, i.e. nail polish, desires, work, desires, and whatever stuff we mentioned right now. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about this in the Quran. فَمَنْ خَلَفَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ خَلْفٌ أَضَاءُ الصَّلَاةِ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about people who came after. أضاءُ الصَّلَاةِ. They forsake the prayer. They left the prayer. They either left it in totality, or you have people just abandoning the prayer or not praying it correctly. It's nullified. Why did they abandon the prayer? Allah said, وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ.
Follow their
Because
desire.
they were following their desires. The desire to look a certain way. The desire to do that. And what did Allah Azza wa Jalla say? What's going to happen to them? فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيَّا. Allah said very soon. Very, very soon. Allah said the scene here shows very soon. Very, very soon. Allah said they are going to be thrown inside of a pit, inside of the hellfire. They're going to be thrown inside of a pit within the hellfire.
SubhanAllah.
So this is very, 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 wallah, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. Sisters, like the salah, look how Allah said, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. People are suffering with sins, music, boyfriends, girlfriends, drugs, alcohol. The salah, it stops all of it. You know why? Because when you now pray, you now know that you can't dress inappropriately outside in front of the men. You can't dress inappropriately outside. So look how salah automatically it prohibited you from dressing in a bad way. So not only did salah bring you good, but it stopped you doing sins.
Yeah.
Also the makeup, which is haram outside, you stop that now. Also, what else? Can you come to the salah when you're intoxicated? So drugs and alcohol, you've now stopped it as well. Does that make sense? And also now the praying, what does it do? It stops you from falling into things like zina, like haram relations. Like the salah, it prohibits and prevents and saves you just by doing one act of worship. In order to do it, so many sins that you are doing will fall. And finally, I mentioned the same way Allah said a person who abandons the salah because of desires, he will go to the hellfire. We learn the opposite for the people who are patient with the prayer. Allah said, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. That seek help in patience and prayer. What did Allah say? وَاللَّهُ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. If you do that, Allah is going to be with you. If Allah is with you, then what have you got to lose? Another ayah, Allah said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Successful indeed are the believers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. The ones who when they pray their salah, they pray it with humility and khushu'. And in the end, what did Allah say about at the end of describing those believers? Allah said they will have Firdaus al-A'la. They will not just have Jannah. They will have the highest place in Jannah. But the only thing that's above that place is what? The Prophet ﷺ's place. So the salah, wallahi, it's your connection to Allah. And forsaking it, you have nothing to do with Islam anymore.
Can I mention something very quickly?
Of course,
Go for it.
I don't think anyone's touched on the topic, and it's probably the biggest reason that people, they say, and it's the issue of laziness. For example, people they procrastinate when it comes to prayer. They're very lazy when it comes to it. When they hear the time for prayer, they feel lazy. In reality, there's no such thing. In reality, there's no such thing as laziness. Laziness, all it is that you don't understand or you don't value the thing that you're being lazy of, and you don't understand the magnitude of not doing that thing. And that's what it all really comes down to. Because if you told someone, wake up at this time, and even for example when it comes to uni, I've seen people wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. or they will do a whole all-nighter just so they can go into the exam confident. But when it comes to the salah, Allah only asks you to wake up in the middle of the night to pray for 5 minutes. You're not able to do that. it really shows where your priorities are.
No, I think that's a very, very valid point, inshallah. A lot's been discussed. There was a nice little experiment there as well. And if you want to see more experiments like that, or have any other ideas for any things that we could do to spice up Child Mobile, please feel free to comment them down below and let us know. And yeah, we'll leave it there, inshallah. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, don't forget to pray right now.